All right, good afternoon, everyone. Just letting you know that you are all on time. So thank you for doing that and being here on time for class. I'm going to go ahead and start talking about what we're going to be doing today. Please don't forget that you had homework number 26 due in your OneNote notebooks today in your chapter 6 section. Again, if I run into any problems as I'm looking for it, or if I see missing information, I'll be sure to be in contact with you. In terms of, sorry, as people are coming in late to class here, in terms of today, we're going to be working on our weekly lab. And that weekly lab is up on Google Classroom for you. It's called Projectile Motion. So if you want to go ahead and get that pulled up, I'll quickly share my screen as well. So again, in terms of your weekly lab, it's going to be submitted via Google Classroom, and you have your lovely Google Doc here to help you out with that. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using an online simulator in order to determine the angle that gives us the maximum height and the greatest range for our object. So if you go ahead and click on that link, it should open up in a new window for you. Hopefully you don't run into any problems. If you do, please just let me know. And in terms of this one, you'll notice that on the weekly lab, it says, here are your settings. All right, so you're gonna pick the lab option, which is the last one down here at the right. And it has the lovely Canon on it as well. So again, like I said, we're gonna be talking about Canons a lot. And then it tells you what you need to set your things to. So you have your initial velocity is going to be 15 meters per second. Your ball's mass is going to be 17.60 kilograms. The diameter of it is 1 meter. And then you're also going to make sure that your acceleration is set due to gravity at negative 9.81 meters per second squared. So I also included a picture just to help you see what that's going to look like. So again, you have all those different tools off to the right-hand side here. And in terms of your diameter, again, you're going to switch that one all the way to 1 meter. Your gravity should be set to 9.81 meters per second squared. Again, that's talking about a negative 9.81 meters per second squared for you. And you don't have to worry about anything with air resistance because we don't even care about it in terms of this lab. A couple of other things that I'll point out for you that you might want to know is that you do have this lovely measuring tape. All right, you can click and drag that, and you can also pull it to change its length. All right, what's really important is that you keep it as horizontal and vertical as possible as you're looking at your lab. All right, all the way throughout it, because we're looking at height, which is our distance upward, and then also your range, which is our distance horizontally. So going back to the weekly lab, all right, again, I tell you, make sure that you're using the measuring tape, okay? And what you're gonna be doing is you and your partners are gonna be setting your Canon to a very specific angle, all right? And you can do that just by pivoting your Canon, all right? Oh, and here's your initial speed. You just have to decrease it a little bit. So again, you can just set your Canon very specifically. It moves at 1 degree increments for you. And these are all the different angles that you're going to be actually launching your cannonball at. Once you launch it, so let's say, I'm just going to keep it at 42 for now. All right, you're just going to hit this button down at the bottom, and that fires your cannonball. So notice some important information here. All right, you'll notice that there's kind of like a green dot up at the top. That's indicating just about where your maximum height is. So you'd probably take your measuring tape, and if you notice your cannonball, all right, we're starting at that dotted yellow line. So it's going to start from the dotted yellow line, and you're going to pivot it upwards, all right, to measure that height. For your range, you have to start all the way back at the origin. So right where you see that plus sign on the cannon, and you're going to keep it right along the yellow line until you get all the way to the center of your cannonball, and that's going to give you your range. So every single time, whenever you launch your cannon, you can get both measurements right away, all right? If you need to, feel free to do a couple of trials just to make sure that you're being accurate, but you don't have to do that. Once you and your partner have gathered all of your data, you have some analysis questions that you're going to answer. So for the first one, you're going to discuss what happened to the height of the cannonball as the angle changed. And so what you're basically doing is you're describing the relationship that you noticed in your data. So you're going to be looking at the angle and the height for the first one. In terms of that, you're going to say, okay, as the angle increased, this thing increased. Whatever you see happen, all right, you're stating the relationship. And in terms of looking at your data, if there's a specific point where something changed, you should also denote that information as well. For number 2, you're going to talk about the range, all right? So that means you're going to look at every single angle and then talk about what happened to the range as you increase the angle. So as the angle increased, the range decreased, whatever the case may be, you're going to talk about that relationship. Again, is there a certain angle where things tended to change, all right? Did something happen specifically before versus after? Last but not least, is actually a prediction question, all right? Because if you try and look, so it's talking about an angle of 0 degrees. If you look, you can't set your cannon to 0 degrees. Oh, and I'm sorry, I just realized that there's 15 degrees in there. You don't have to do the 50 degrees. Let me delete that column real quick. In terms of your cannon, all right, you can't set it to 0 degrees. You need to think about whether or not if you launch something at 0 degrees, would it be considered a projectile? If it is a projectile, what would its height be? What would the range of that object be? All right. So that's all you're going to be doing in terms of this period. I'm going to be breaking you out into those lovely little breakout rooms so that you can work with a partner. All right. And you should be able to share your screen with each other as you're doing that. But are there any questions as of right now as to what you're doing on the lab? Go ahead, Shemaya.
How do you get to the gravity? Because I don't see it on my
So if you look all the way in the right side of the screen in those boxes, there's a gravity option and it should be set to 9.81 meters per second squared.
I don't have, like, my setup is not the same as your setup.
Are you in the lab section of the simulation? So if you look at the bottom, there's like the home, intro, vectors, drag, and then lab.
Okay, yeah. Now I see it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any other questions on the lab before I break you off into groups? Okay, so what's really great about the breakout room is that you can still request for me to come in and I can answer whatever questions you have. And I'll also be able to pull you all out of the breakout rooms before the end of the period just to talk about some things in terms of next week as well. So bear with me as I work on putting you into all of the different rooms here. So you're probably going to be in groups of like 3 or 2, depending on how many people we have here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 14. All right. Let me just make sure I'm not included. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open all the rooms. You should be able to be working with your partner. And again, you can always, there's a button that says talk to host or chat with host if you have any questions. So I've sent out that invitation for you guys and you can just join on in. There you go. Alexandra, did you? Okay, good.
for that.
Hello, hello. How's it going over here?
Going
Good.
good.
Okay, any questions or anything as of right now?
No.
All right.
Yeah, that's right. That seems right.
How's it going over here? Everybody good so far?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, how you two doing?
Good.
Okay,
Good.
great. Also, you can share your screen with each other, so feel free to do that if that helps you communicate a little bit better. And let me know if you have any questions.
Okay.
For the range,
Yes, I got 21 meters.
and then like 4 for the height.
Yes.
All right,
Okay, me
sounds like
too.
you guys are doing good. You do have the ability to also share your screen. So if you wanted to, you could, like, one person could set up the simulator and set it all up, and you could both look at the data together right away.
Oh,
Any
okay.
questions
Okay.
or anything?
No.
No.
All right, keep up the good work. Hi, Bella.
Hi. Did Luna leave it? I don't.
I don't know. I will send her an email and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Degrees. There.
Wait, how do I erase that?
I have no idea.
I don't even
I
know.
think, like, do you mind trying the eraser one? The eraser, whatever, in the yellow bar.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Good. I'm just
Good.
having, I can't find, two things. Is one, I can't find the tape measure. I found
The
it.
tape
Oh, the
measure is
tape measure is right there. Oops.
How to
Um,
erase the previous one?
Yeah, how
So
do I
there's an
erase?
eraser next to the launch button. So when you
Oh,
click that,
Okay.
it erases everything so you can refresh.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, not a problem. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Okay.
How's it going over here?
Well, I just figured out how to make it work.
That's
Oh.
good. Also, if you'd like, you can share your screen with your partner. So if one person wanted to pull up the simulator, set things up and launch it, then you can both look at the data at the same time. In case
Oh,
you were wondering. Any questions though, now that you figured it out?
no, we're all good.
All right.
Thank you.
Let me know if you have any questions. Liliana, all right, you're back. You good?
Oh yeah,
All right.
I
So,
just sent you an email. Yeah, I keep saying I have unstable connection.
oh, all right. Well, just keep, popping back in as often as you have to. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Is
No,
the
I think I'm
range
good.
the distance?
Yeah, the range is
Well,
the horizontal distance. So how far to
Okay.
the right does it go? Another
And-
thing, if you want, you can share your screen with your partner so you can both observe the launch together at the same time and collect the data.
Okay.
Any other questions? Just let me know.
Okay.
don't know if it's working.
All right, what's up?
Oh, we finished.
All right, let me take a quick look through. If you could scroll down. Good. Okay. All right, if you could show me just your analysis questions. Yeah, that's good. One and two are incorrect. So go ahead and think about those ones a little bit more. All right, how's it going?
We fixed it.
Okay, let me see it. All right. In terms of that first question, all I'm really looking for is the trend. You don't necessarily have to say that at 75 degrees, you thought it increased a little bit more. That doesn't necessarily matter. The general trend is that it increased throughout the entire time. You might want to state what angle gave you the maximum height. I think that's probably more important. Looking at the second one, that is a great relationship. And so again, tell me what's really important about that 45 degrees. Again, what angle gave you your maximum range, and then number 3 is still right. So just make those edits to it, and you guys can work on something else until I bring you all back into the classroom, all right?
Hello.
Hello, what's up?
Hi.
Oh, we just wanted to let you know that we finished the lab.
All right, if one of you could share your screen with me, I'd love to just look at your data, and then look at your responses.
Okay. You want to share yours, Dakota, or should I share mine?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, I'll share mine since you shared yours with the data. I think we have different answers, but like the same idea.
That's fine.
So this
All
is
right.
our data.
Data looks good. So go ahead and scroll down to the analysis questions. All right.
And these are my responses.
Okay, I love your response to the first question. If you could just finish it by telling me what angle gave you the maximum height, it'll be perfect.
Okay.
Number 2 is perfect. You said that the cannonball reached its maximum height in there though at like 22.92 degrees, and that one wasn't looking at height, it was looking at range.
Oh.
You'll want to specify, so the cannonball's maximum range was reached at this angle instead.
Oh, that's not degrees. Meters.
Beautiful.
And then the third one, I like wasn't really sure because
You're on the right track. You're definitely on the right track. It's
I didn't know
not a
if there's-
projectile.
I didn't know if there was going to be like friction or anything that was slowing it down.
No, you don't
So
have to worry about
learn
that
that?
stuff. Think about our 2 parameters that we talked about in class as to what makes something a projectile,
Okay.
and talk about those 2 things. After that, your responses look really good. Don't forget the honor code, and you guys can work on something else until I bring you all back into the classroom, okay?
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, beautiful. So how was using the breakout rooms? Did you like that for working with a partner? Is that okay? Okay, good. So we'll hopefully be continuing to use that in the future, especially in terms of stuff for next week, which I'm going to go through really quickly with you. First and foremost, I've gone through everyone's notebooks and I've graded your homework number 26. So if you don't see a grade for it, that means that I couldn't find it. So please make sure that you get it in there as soon as possible. Moving on in terms of next week, I see you on Tuesday of next week. So on Tuesday, we're going to be doing a worksheet on projectile motion. So again, similar to like what you would see on a quiz review. On Wednesday's community day. On Thursday is when I see you next. So we'll move on to our next topic of horizontal launch. Hopefully we'll finish all the notes during that period and you'll get a homework assignment. And then you'll be working on a worksheet for horizontal launch on Friday during class. Next week, Friday, is also when your weekly lab is due via OneNote notebook. So make sure that you sign the honor code at the end and that you hit the turn in button as well. Are there any questions on things that are coming up? All right, so everybody have a wonderful weekend and I will see you next week, Tuesday.